The Eagles need defensive playmakers. They need game changers on defense. And now with Haason Reddick being traded, you've got to nail this draft and come away with at least 2 defensive starters. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, Kick Dingbat here, and over the last few days, the 2 questions that I'm asked the most is 1, are you Denzel Washington? Because you look exactly like him. In which I have to tell people, no, I am not him, but I do look like him. I'm sorry. The second question, did the Eagles' defense get better after trading Haason Reddick? And the truth of the matter is this. As we sit here right now today, no, they did not. But the good thing is, it's only April, okay? It's not May, it's not June, it's not August, it's not September, October, November, December. It's none of those days. It is still April, and the draft is still coming, and we have a lot of work to do. It still could be, by the time the season starts, the trade for Haason Reddick makes a lot more sense to a lot of us. But after the Eagles did trade Haason Reddick, they weren't finished going out and making moves. And another spectacular move, well, maybe some of you guys might think that, but the Eagles have signed Reed Blankenship to a 1-year extension. So Eagles signed safety Reed Blankenship to a 1-year extension. Mike Garofalo said this, pound Eagles, not hashtag, always pound. Pound Eagles safety Reed Blankenship extension pays him a fully guaranteed whopping $3.9 million over the next 2 years. Sources say he can earn another $1.3 million via playing time and Pro Bowl escalator. So $375,000 bonus for 70% of the time playing, $625,000 for 80%, $875,000 for 90%, $500K for a Pro Bowl appearance. Now, here are my thoughts on Reed Blankenship and signing him. I like Reed Blankenship. I do. I think he's a very good player, a good piece to have on your defense, a good rotational guy. Do I think he's a multi-year Pro Bowler? Do I see him as that kind of guy? I do not. I think he could be a decent starter, a really good backup if you need him. And if the Eagles were so enamored by Reed Blankenship, and just being honest, they would have given him way more than a 1-year extension. I like Reed Blankenship. I think that he can play along C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and I think he will be fine. I think he'll do a good job for the Eagles. However, that doesn't necessarily mean he is the long-term answer at safety. You still have Justin Simmons out there. I don't know what's going to happen with him. Obviously, you have C.J. Gardner-Johnson here for the next 3 years, which is a really, really good thing. So we'll see. As far as the Reed Blankenship signing extension for 1 year, sure, I like it. It was cheap. It doesn't cost you anything. And you're getting a quality player. So I'm okay with that, And then watching Haason Reddick yesterday at the Jets press conference being introduced, it kind of makes me feel sick. I'm not going to lie. Now, he didn't bash the Eagles. He said clearly, it's not that they didn't think I had anything left or I can't play. It's just money. It's about money. It's a business. And I don't think Haason Reddick, and the feeling I got out of that press conference, I don't think he wanted to go to the Jets. I think he wanted to stay in Philly. I do. And it's a shame it couldn't get worked out. But at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves the question, are the Eagles better defensively than they were a year ago after trading Haason Reddick? And to me, I look at it like this. You just legitimately lost your number one playmaker, and which was your only playmaker last year. And you got nothing in return for him immediately. Meaning, you're not getting anything from Haason Reddick that helps you this year. You're going to have to wait till 2026. So you're going to be waiting a while. You're going to have to wait to the 26, 27 year before you get anything for Haason Reddick. That's probably the main reason I didn't like the trade at the end of the day. You just don't get anything that helps you. But where the Eagles did improve defensively is getting C.J. Gardner-Johnson back. Obviously, he's a playmaker, so you kind of lose a playmaker, and then to me, you're getting one back. You still need a few, and it's going to be the draft that is going to have to come in and be big for us. Now, let me just say this as my final thoughts for the whole Haason Reddick trade, because after this, I'm moving on from it. There's no need to keep talking about it. It is what it is at this point. But let me say this. I know I have been one of the more critical content creators out there talking about this Haason Reddick trade. I don't like it. I don't like what the Eagles got in terms of value. You guys have all heard me say that over and over again. But at the end of the day, we have to wait and see how this thing plays out to know whether it was a fair trade or not. One of the things that we said at the beginning of free agency was, and I talked about this, I said, I would go and take a chance on a Saquon Barkley. People thought I was nuts for saying that. Saquon Barkley, a Derrick Henry. I would go out and try to make my offense even better, so that way it gives me flexibility on defense. This is exactly what the Eagles did. By making your offense that much better, where you're scoring, 30-plus points a game, it gives your defense a chance to get younger and then kind of play together and grow as a defense, because your offense is good enough to carry you. The Eagles did exactly that. They're trusting in Nolan Smith. They're trusting in Bryce Huff, and I have no issue with them doing that. My biggest issue with the trade is that you have to wait till 2026. Okay, I would have kept them anyways, but that's my biggest issue. But the Eagles, they did exactly what we talked about. They made their offense better. Now they're going young on defense, and I'm okay with that. But in this draft, the Eagles are going to have to come out with, at least, in my opinion, at least one starter on defense. One starter on defense and one player who's contributing almost like a starter, somebody rotating in. You need your rookies to play, okay? And then when you look at offense, defense combined, I want at least two starters out of this draft with a lot of guys that are contributing right away. I thought it was interesting. Bookies.com, they put out a odds probability of who the Eagles, I guess they're doing every team, but they have one of the Eagles, and they had the Eagles NFL draft odds for number 22. And the player with the best odds to land in Philly was really interesting. They had Nate Wiggins, cornerback, 30.8% implied probability that he's going to be an Eagle. Remember, the Eagles haven't drafted a corner since 2002, but Howie Roseman told Jeffrey Lurie, and Jeffrey Lurie said this, that they were going to get away from some things they've done in the past and start doing new things. Could be getting a corner in the draft be one of those things? Very, very possible. Kool-Aid McKinstry was 25% implied probability. Third, Chip Robinson, the edge rusher from Penn State, 16.7. Ennis Rakestraw, the cornerback out of Missouri, 14.3. Cooper DeJean, Iowa, 13.3%. We're going to talk about him in a second. And then the rest of the field was 18.2% implied probability with plus 450. I would take that. I would take the 450 and bet it. Because in my opinion, there's guys that they left out there. They left out a bunch of tackles, offensive linemen, where I think the Eagles, in my opinion, and my best odds, I have the Eagles taking offensive linemen in the first round as the most likely scenario, followed by edge rusher, and then followed by corner. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Now, one of the guys that they talked about on that list was Cooper DeJean. And I haven't probably had so many people ask me what I think about Cooper DeJean. What do I think about Cooper DeJean? Would you draft him? And I finally started watching some of his games and stuff. And, I have more to watch, but I have a pretty strong opinion from what I've seen already, okay? And I bring his name up because there are rumors out there that there are people within the Eagles organization that are in love with him. They love him, okay? Jacob Sports, shout out to them. They posted this. Some in the Eagles organization are raving about Iowa defensive back Cooper DeJean, a likely first-round pick who had a top 30 visit scheduled with Philly. And that was from Jake Rabidi, NFL, from, I think, Liberty Line. But shout out to him. But they're raving about Cooper DeJean. Adam Schefter wrote this about Cooper DeJean. Iowa defensive back Cooper DeJean, one of the top defensive prospects in the upcoming draft, sent a letter to all NFL clubs last week informing them that after suffering a broken fibula in November, he has now been cleared to return to football activities. DeJean will hold an individual workout April 8th at Iowa. Cooper will do all the on-the-field testing positions without any restrictions. Now, when I watched Cooper DeJean, okay, the things that stood out to me, and I got a lot more to watch of him, okay, but I think this is a very instinctive, high IQ ball hawk. I think he's a ball hawk. I think he has a nose for a ball. One of the things that really stands out to me is I think this kid, I think he reads quarterbacks well, and I think he's instinctive. Much like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I think he has a nose for the ball. Okay, now he's 6'1.5", 203 pounds. That's what he came in at the combine. He's probably going to play around, I would assume, probably going to be like 210, somewhere around there. He's a big guy, okay? Now, if you look at some of the weaknesses that you read about him and stuff, one of the things they talk about is man-to-man. He has a problem with man-to-man, and he may struggle in the NFL with that. Now, we'll see how it plays out, but that's one of the weaknesses that are often listed about him. From what I've seen, in my own personal opinion, I think Cooper DeJean is a safety. Okay, now I know that's probably going to be like blow people's mind, or people may disagree with me, but in my opinion, if I draft Cooper DeJean, I'm playing him at safety. I think he's got all the skills for an elite safety. I think you put him at cornerback, I think he could be very good. I think you put him at safety, I think he'll be an elite safety. So if I was the Eagles and I drafted Cooper DeJean, I'm drafting him as a safety, and I'm playing him right with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I think that would be, in a couple years, the best safety duo in the league. I think this kid's a player. I like him a lot. I have to watch more of him as a corner. But, you know, when I watch him play, I think he's a safety. He looks like a safety. He's got that. He's got high IQ. He's got a sense for the ball. Where is it going? I think this kid's a playmaker. He's fast. He can return punts and kickoffs. I think this kid is definitely worth a first round pick. But as a safety, if I draft this kid, I'm taking him as safety. And let me tell you, from what I've watched and seen, that's on the table right now for me. That is absolutely on the table. Because what I talk about and what I say, the Eagles need playmakers on defense. This kid is a playmaker. And I truly believe that being a ball hawk, having instincts for the football, I think that's an awfully hard trait to learn. Like, some people just have it naturally. I think he's a natural ball hawk. And I think that if you paired him up with C.J. Gardner-Johnson as a safety, I think he'd be really, really good. As a corner, we'll see. You know, I want to watch and see and learn more about him, especially in man-to-man coverage, because that's where they say he might struggle. And at some point, you know, the Eagles are going to want him to be there. But, you know, as far as a slot corner goes, and as a safety, I think he could play both. And if you get him and you have C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I think you have two elite ball hawks with a high skill set that both could play at corner if need to be at times. I think this kid is going to be really good. And I think he's, and I'm not saying he's going to be a bad safety. I don't think that. I just think that as as a cornerback, I'm not saying he's going to be a bad corner. I'm not saying that at all. I think he's an elite safety, though. So if I'm the Eagles, I would definitely think about drafting him. No doubt about it. But as a safety. Just my opinion. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie Vision, baby. We're all just living in it. So just to talk a little further about Cooper DeJean. Here on the NFL, the draft profile, here are some of the things that they had listed as far as his strengths and weaknesses, right? Strengths, starting experience as a strong safety and cornerback. So he has played some safety. Explosive athlete, hitting markers in height, weight, and speed. Instinctive zone defender, ready to feast on quarterbacks with poor eye discipline. Tracks the pass and plays the entry point, big burst to close. He has ball skills of a receiver. Charges hard, slams into pass catchers, can provide immediate help as a punt returner. To me, those are all great qualities of an elite safety. Then when you look at his weaknesses, he has hip tightness, which will be hard to overcome in man coverage. Struggles to open hips and find sudden acceleration against press release. Fails to turn and find the football when traveling with deep routes. Played a series of bad offenses and wasn't challenged much in 2023. Below average length allows some slippage as a wrap-up tackler. When you look at the strengths and the weaknesses of this kid, according to the NFL draft profile, and you look at just, watching him play so far, I've watched 3 games of him so far. To me, I think he's a safety. I think he looks like a safety. I think he'll be an elite safety at the next level. And I think if you put him there, I think you're going to have yourself one hell of a player. Denzel Washington out.